Hi students, welcome to our class on machine learning. Myself, Dr. N. Tirupati Rao, working as Associate Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Vignan Institute of Information Technology, Vishakhapatnam. So, as part of our class, today we are going to discuss about the another topic in the second unit, that is the decision trees. So, let us go to the syllabus and objective of this lecture. So, in our previous classes, we had seen the linear separability, decision regions, and linear discriminates. And in the next classes, we had seen this linear regression, logistic regression in our last classes. So, today we are going to discuss about the another important topic in the second unit, that is the decision trees. So, let us see the contents of this lecture. So, decision trees. So, what is a decision tree? Why we need to use these decision trees? How many types of decision trees are there? And some of the real-time examples for these decision trees can be discussed in this lecture. And various decision tree algorithms that can be used for the real-time problems also discussed here. And the objective of this lecture is the student can have a good idea about the decision trees and types of decision trees and how these decision trees can be used for the problems. And the outcome of this lecture can be taken as the student can able to classify the problems and he can able to solve the problems by using these decision tree algorithms. So, okay. So, let us see why these decision trees. So, see the thing, we have couple of other algorithms and techniques. We have many algorithms and other two algorithms like ID3 algorithm, C4.5 CART algorithms. So, and other techniques also we have. So, why do we choose to these decision trees? When we have those algorithms, still why we are going for these decision trees? So, the reason is like this. See, yes, there might be many reasons, but I believe there may be these are some of the few reasons for choosing these decision trees. The first one is decision trees often mimic the human level thinking. So, it's so simple to understand the data. That means, in general, the decision trees are simply mimic or following the thinking levels or following how a human being is solving the problems in such a way these decision trees are also working. So, as a result, to understand the data and make some good interpretations, these decisions are being choosing. So, the first reason for choosing why these decision trees is, so these decision trees are mimic the human beings for solving or for understanding the problems, and then they will go for solving such problems. The second reason is these decision trees actually make you see the logic for the data to interpret. So, these decision trees will always look for the logic such that to interpret the problem and try to solve the problem, whereas not like other algorithms like SVM and neural networks. So, support vector machine and neural networks are the black box type of algorithms where they cannot interpret the data or based on the logic, but here these decision trees we can use the logic such that to interpret the problems. So, by considering these two things we are choosing these decision trees. So, what is decision tree? So, how this can be taken? See, first, a tree has many analogies in real life, and turns out that it has influenced a wide area of machine learning. So, in normal case, a tree has a good influence on the human. How? Because if you see a tree has, it will supply us oxygen, it is going to play a key role in our life. Similarly, this tree model is going to play a key role in the machine learning models also, covering both classification and regression. So, this tree type of models are going to play a key role in the machine learning models, which covers the both type of techniques, that is the classification and regression. So, I told you in the second unit we are going to study in detail about these classification and regression problems. So, here for these two types of models, these decision trees are going to play a key role for solving a problem. See then, decision trees are a type of supervised machine learning. So, these decision trees will come under the supervised machine learning models, and where the data is continuously split according to a certain parameter. So, based on a certain parameter, that parameter maybe you can consider as a condition. Based on that condition, you are going to split the data into 2 or 3 subparts. So these decision trees works on the supervised learning model, and based on a certain parameter or condition, they are going to separate the data. Next point is the tree can be explained by two entities. Those are namely decision nodes and leaves. Basically, when you see a tree, you have like this a tree. It is having the roots. So it is having the roots and it is the stem where you have these branches, and for each branch you will have different leaves. So now here in decision trees, we are going to represent this tree in the reverse manner, where the root or the stem of this tree will come to the top, and whereas the branches and leaves of the tree will come to the bottom. So when you are seeing the example, you can understand in a better way about these decision trees. See, the leaves are the decisions. So whatever the tree has the leaves, these can be taken as a decision or the final outcome. So the leaves of the tree can be taken as the final decision or the outcome, and the decision nodes are where the data is going to be split. So the nodes can be taken here as the decision nodes. By using these decision nodes, we are going to split the data. That is the thing. So we are having two things. Here the nodes we are taking to split the data, and of course the leaves can be taken here for analyzing the decisions. And of course, though a commonly used tool in data mining for deriving a strategy to reach a particular goal, so in general these decision trees will be used in even in data mining also to reach a goal or to approximately to estimate a goal. And moreover, it's also widely used in the machine learning, which will be the main focus of this lecture. So how these decision trees are going to play a key role in machine learning also we are going to see in this lecture. See how decision trees works. So we had seen we have a stem, we are reversing the tree, there we have the branches and leaves. Branches will be a decision point and leaves will be your actual output, what you are going to expect. See how this decision tree is going to work. So a decision tree is a tree like graph. Basically a decision tree is a tree like graph. Basically this decision tree can be represented like a graph, and that graph is in the form of a tree, and with nodes representing the place where we pick an attribute and ask a question. So how this represented we can be taken as, suppose you take this is the stem, you have roots, from this you are having this tree, you have branches, and you have leaves for these branches. So we just reverse the tree, and see here the leaves represent the actual output or class label. So whatever the leaves here are there will give you the actual output, and the leaves are the decisions or the final outcomes. So the leaves whatever you are taking are the decisions or output what you are taking, and the decision nodes are where the data is split. So the decision nodes, these are the nodes from where you are going to split the data for better understanding. So decision trees classify the examples by sorting them down the tree from the root to some leaf node. So I told you these decision trees we are going to represent them in a reverse manner. So this is the root. From root we are representing in the downwards with the leaves, with the branches, and where leaves of this branch, with the leaf node providing the classification to the example. So the leaf node will provide the classification of the example. So whatever these leaves are there, they are going to provide the classification to your particular problem. So the condition that each node in the tree acts as a test case for some attribute. Whenever you are having a attribute, so each node in the tree can be taken as a test case, and at each edge descending from that node corresponds to one of the possible answers to the test case. So whatever the leaf are getting from that root node, we are having the one of the possible answers to that particular test case. This process is recursive in nature and is repeated for every subtree rooted at the new nodes. Whenever we are having a condition, we will represent each condition in the form of a subtree node. From that root, subtree node or subroot, from that we are going for a branch, from that we are going for the leaves, and This process is recursive in nature. So this process will continue forever whenever until we are getting the output, and it is repeated for every subtree root, and it is being repeated for every subroot or subtree root and the new nodes. Whenever you are getting a new node, the same process is being repeated until you get the answer. This is the common process which a decision tree follows when we are going to work. Whenever you have a tree, you have the root at downside, and you have the branches, and you have the leaves. So in decision tree, we are going to reverse it. So the major attribute what you are going to consider will be taken at top. From that, you are going to classify it. So each subroot will have a condition. From that, the answer of that condition will be leaves, and that leaves will be taken here as the output, and whatever the branch you are going to separately form, that branch can be taken here as a subroot or a new decision. Based on decision, you are going to have whether it is output or non-output. That means whatever the value you are getting, you may take that whether it is true or false, or the output is that or not. You can decision there. See, in decision tree, the major challenge is to identification of the attribute for the root node in each level. Okay, we have n number of conditions or n number of attributes, but what will be the best attribute that you have to choose to keep main root of that tree? That is the major condition. So from that root, you are going to make some other nodes and some other branches, and for those branches you are going for some other leaves of that. So here identifying the attribute is the key role. Next one, this process is known as attribute selection. So you have to select the attribute at first, and this from that you are going to go for subroots. For that subroots you are going to take for leaves. So we have two popular attribute selection measures. To select an attribute, we have famously two models are there. One is the information gain model, and second one is the Gini index. So by using any of these two models, you have to select then attribute in a decision tree. Just like that, we cannot select. By using any of this model, you are going to select an attribute of a root node or in a decision tree. So let us see this information gain and Gini index. So this is the information gain. See what is this information gain? When we use a node in a decision tree to partition the training instances into smaller subsets, the entropy changes. So whenever you are going to represent a large amount of data into a small tree like, so the entropy value of that tree will change. So information gain is a measure of this change in entropy. So information gain is a measure of this entropy. That means you are going to calculate this entropy information gain by using this entropy value. So definition, see how this information gain can be calculated. Suppose S is a set of instances. Suppose you are taking S is a set of instances and A is an attribute, and SV, capital S suffix V, is the subset of S with A equal to V, and values A is the set of all possible values of A. Then the equation that can be calculated to information gain is, this is gain of S, set of S and attribute A can be taken as entropy value of S minus sigma of values of A, that is divided by SV by S, that is the SV is the subset of S by set S of entropy of subset of S can be calculated. So this is the formula that can be used to calculate this information gain, where S is the set of values and A is the attributes, and of course the S is set again, and SV is the subset of S, and of course here entropy of subset of S can be calculated. So entropy, what is entropy? You will have a normal doubt. So entropy is the measure of uncertainty of a random variable. So if you take any random variable, what will be the uncertainty of that random variable can be calculated by using this entropy. So that is the thing about this information gain. If you see the second one, Gini index, so this is another model to calculate the attribute or to select the attribute of a decision tree. See, Gini index is a metric to measure how often a randomly chosen element would be incorrectly identified. That means how often, so how many times in normal case a random variable can be identified incorrectly. That is the Gini index. So a random variable, if I are taking, how many times this random variable is identifying incorrectly can be calculated by using this Gini index. So it means an attribute with lower Gini index should be preferred. So always the Gini index should be with a lower index. Why? Because so very small number of times we are identifying the thing incorrectly. That means almost every time we are identifying a random variable correctly. So the Gini index, if you take, always the Gini index for an attribute always should be less. If it is more, that means you are identifying the random variable incorrectly in a more number of times. So that is not suitable. So always you have to be chosen, this Gini index value should be lower. So the formula used for this Gini index is 1 minus sigma of j of p of j square. Probability of the event, it is squared. So that is the equation for calculating this Gini index. So if you are trying to build a decision tree, so if you are, the main role for identifying this decision tree is the attribute selection. So that attribute selection, main attribute selection will be considered here as the root. From that you are going to build the tree. So the selection of that attribute can be done by using two methods. First one is the information gain and second one is the Gini index. So let us see an example so that you can understand better way this decision tree. Let's assume you want to play badminton on a particular day, say Saturday. So now we are taking an example. So we need to play the badminton on a particular day. Let us say the day is a Saturday. So how will you decide whether to play or not? So how we are going to decide whether on which day, that Saturday, whether we are going to play or not, we will decide. So let's say you go out and check if it's hot or cold, check the speed of the wind and humidity. So to play the badminton, we will check mainly three parameters, whether it is hot or cold. That means you want to play outside. So whether the hot or cold, if it is temperature is too high or too low or average. Second thing, check the speed of the wind. So speed of the wind also another play. Why? Because when you are playing this badminton, due to this wind, the ball may go to another directions also. So for better gameplay, you need to check the speed of the wind and also humidity such that you can play more time, such that without effect. That is the three things you can consider while playing the game. And how the weather is, that is, it is sunny or cloudy or rainy. And you take all these factors into account to decide if you want to play or not. So to play the badminton, I am going to check all these things, whether the temperature, whether it is sunny or cold or hot, and about the speed of the wind, and of course the humidity. These three parameters you are going to consider and you are going to decide whether to play the game or not on a particular Saturday. So you calculate all these factors for the last 10 days. So in order to play on that particular Saturday, I am going to calculate last 10 days data and I am going to keep the data in a tabular way, and let us see how it is going to be displayed in a tabular. See, I had kept the data collected for the last 10 days. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 days. So last 10 days I had calculated the weather. So sunny, cloudy, rainy, rainy, rainy. So for better understanding and for better expectation or guessing, I am going to calculate all these values and I am going to keep them. So observation of the last 10 days. So last 10 days I had collected all the parameters which I am going to consider to decide whether I have to play the game on that particular day on a Saturday or not. I will decide by using last 10 days data. And how we are going to build a tree for this, you see in the next slide. So now you may use, now you may use this table to decide whether to play or not. By analyzing this table data, we can decide whether we can play on that day the badminton or not. See, but what if the weather pattern on Saturday does not match with any of the rows in the table? This may be a problem. Now the problem is, whenever I had decided to play on Saturday, that may be not suitable for me to play the game, then what will be the problem? Then by understanding this table also, it is a big problem for us. So better thing is a decision tree. So rather than going for a table, if it is represented in a decision tree, we can easily understand to play that badminton on Saturday or not. So see this, a decision tree would be a great way to represent data like this, because it takes into account all the possible paths that can lead to the final decision by following a tree-like structure. So if you analyze the data in a table way, If you compare, so every day it has some future, every day it has some value. So it is very difficult for you to condition or to decide to the factor. But whereas coming to this tree structure, when you are representing the entire data in a tree structure, you will have a condition, and for that condition you are going to check the answer. With that answer, you can decide whether to play or not. So let us see the same table data. If you are playing, if you want to play this game, how you are going to represent in a decision tree. You see this. See here, the same data which I have, I am representing. So I told you the attribute selection. So here I am, my main consider for playing this game is weather. So I had taken here weather as my main attribute, and three related parameters for this weather are whether it is sunny or it is cloudy or it is raining. So these three are the three types of areas or three parameters which are going to affect this weather. So suppose if it is sunny, what will be my humidity? Okay, I am happy with my weather because today it is sunny, so somehow I can play the game. Then next my condition is humidity. What will be my humidity? Whether it is high or normal. If it is high, I am not going to play my badminton. If it is normal, yes, I am going to play my badminton. Similarly, wind, if it is strong, I am not going to play. If it is weak, yes, I am going to play. So by considering these two, humidity, cloudy is okay, yes, cloudy, so I can have little bit less temperature. Similarly, my humidity is normal, and of course wind is also weak. So all three parameters are satisfying for me to play the badminton, so I will play the badminton on that particular day. See, figure 1 illustrates a learned decision tree. So it gives how a decision tree is a learned decision tree. We can see that each node from that picture, these are the conclusions we had wrote. We can see that each node represents an attribute or feature, and the branch from each node represents the outcome of that node. Suppose you see here, so each node represents a branch condition. From this condition, what we are going to do, we are going for a branch. From that branch, we are having a condition, and output of that condition is either yes or no. That means whether I am going to play or not, I will decide. Finally, it's the leaves of the tree where the final decision is made. So what are the leaves here? If you see here, so these are the leaves, because this is the root node, this is the root node, this is the root node, it is the branch. From branch, these are the leaves. So I am going to conclude whether I am going to play the game or not, I am going to conclude by these leaves. So that is the conclusion from this decision tree. This is another example where we are having the attributes with some values. See here, the condition is everything is same, but here I am creating here with some values, where I am having kept this condition greater than 75, less than or equal to 75. So that is the main difference between the above graph, where we are representing with additional conditions or with some numerical values, that is attributes are continuous. If the attribute values are continuous values, we are going to represent our decision tree like this. And another example, say whether income range of an applicant. So based on the income range of an applicant, you are going to decide whether to give a loan to a particular person or not. We are going to decide a bank loan. So suppose some customer had applied an application for a bank loan to a bank. So now the bank has to analyze the customer's previous data, and the bank has to decide whether to give loan to that particular person or not. See how we are going to represent. So our main attribute here is income range of applicant. So based on the income range of applicant, whether we are going to give the bank loan or not, we are going to decide. So 3 is, my first condition is if the salary of that employee is less than $30,000 or another region is 30 to 70K and another region is greater than 70K. This is my first condition. So what is my answer? So criminal record. If the salary of that person is less than 30,000K, what will be the criminal record of this person? If it is yes, criminal record is there, then even it is less than 30, so I may give my loan. But if it is criminal record is not there, I am not going to give any loan. Similarly, if you see this, if the range of that applicant is 30 to 70K range, so I am going to check years in present job. How many years he is going to work in this job, or how many years he is working. So less than 1 year, I am not going to consider. If it is 1 to 5 years, makes credit card payments. So if the range of that person is 1 to 5 years, he is working in that company, I am going to check his make credit card payments. Based on that, if he is paying the credit card payments on time, I am going to give him loan. But if he is not paying his credit card on time, I am not going to give his loan. If it is greater than 5 years, I am not going to check any payments of that person. I am directly giving him the loan. The another value I am taking is if the salary of that employee is greater than 70K, so I am just going to check the criminal record. If no criminal record is there on that fellow, I am going to give him loan. If criminal record is there any yes, I am not going to give loan to that particular person. So this is the second example we can see. So this is a general example or general algorithm how a decision tree works. See, first step is pick the best attribute feature. I told you picking the best attribute is the first step. Then the best attribute is one which best splits or separates the data. So based on that best attribute, the data is going to be splitted. Then the next step is ask the relevant question. Based on that attribute, ask the relevant question such that follow the answer path. Based on the answer to that question, follow the answer path. That means a question, an answer, another question, answer. Like that, follow that particular answer path. Then go to step 1. After completing the answer, again go to step 1 until you arrive to the answer. So you can better understand this. You see this one. So first you have a main attribute here. You have this main attribute. Then you are coming to a question. After this question, you have two answers. Again, you have the another question. So like this. If you see this, you can understand. You have a main attribute. From this, you are going to another attribute. From this, again, you have two answers and one more question you are going to pose. For this, you are having one answer, another answer like this. So this is the algorithm. After completing this, suppose you have a question, you came here. Suppose you have a question, you came here. You have two types of answers. So again, you have one more question. So again, you are coming to this one. From this question, again, you are going for two types of answers. That is yes or no for the same question. So this is a continuous process how this algorithm works. So types of decision trees. In normal case, these decision trees are two types. The first one is the classification trees and second one is the regression trees. So what is the classification trees? That is classification trees basically they are yes or no type of trees. So the output of the tree you will get is whether the output is yes or no. We have two options. See, what we have seen above is an example of classification tree where the outcome was a variable like fit or unfit. That means what we have seen previous example, that was an example of this classification tree where whether you are going to give the loan to that particular person or not. If he is fitting my criteria to give loan, I am going to give loan. If he is not fitting to my criteria, I am not going to give his loan. That means the final condition here is whether I am going to give him the loan or not. That is my condition. Second type of thing is regression trees. So here the continuous data types. Here the decision or the outcome variables are continuous, that is numbers. So this is the second type of this decision trees. So we have two types of decision trees, classification trees and regression trees. Regression trees works with continuous type of data. So how to build these trees? So by using these two algorithms, we have another algorithms, but these are the main algorithms we use to build these decision trees. Basically, the first algorithm is the CART algorithm. So classification and regression trees. So CART stands for classification and regression trees, which uses Gini index as metric. So this method I already told you, if you want to fix this main attribute, so you have two methods or two processes to identify this attribute selection. First one is the information gain and second one is the Gini index. So here this CART algorithm, classification and regression tree algorithm, uses Gini index parameter for identifying the basic attribute. Whereas ID3 stands for iterative dichotomizer 3 algorithm. Whereas iterative means repeatedly, so it is going to repeat and repeat. Dichotomize means it is going to divide. So it uses entropy function and information gain as metrics. So I told you to identify the main attribute or to select the main attribute, it is going to give or use this information gain. So ID3 algorithm always uses information gain as to select the main index value or main attribute value, whereas cart algorithm